Hi everyone, I am Laura Bresee, Executive Speech Coach. For the last 20 years at my company, Memphis Speech Solutions, I have helped executives and professionals overcome speaking fear, gain speaking confidence, and get promoted. Thank you for joining my channel. If you have liked and subscribed already and you have seen the videos, you might not have known that every video that I started this channel with, except for the last two, has been a particular video for a particular specific client need. It's been a library, but that's all about to change because this year I'm going to be publishing. I am working with a book developer finally so I can get moving forward on some very important information that I particularly think that we need right now. Okay, think about it. If you are still struggling with speaking fear and anxiety, social anxiety disorders, anything like that, and you have not been able to pursue your dreams in life because you were held back from speaking fear and low self-confidence, why? Why is the number one fear public speaking year after year after year with all of the entire world's knowledge, including AI now? Why do we continue to have the number one fear is public speaking? It's crazy. So let me share a little bit about my story. I've never done this before anywhere online, so here we go. I had to do every single thing that I have my clients do. For me, it started out with a devastating, debilitating stutter. I did not speak until I was 3. And whenever I did start speaking, I couldn't talk. My speech voice mechanism was completely blocked up. I was teased, I was harassed, I was called names by family and friends and classmates, people who I knew well. It was so awkward. Okay? It was very devastating, actually. I developed a lot of insecurity as a child. I still, to this day, struggle with some of that anxiety and that insecurity that I had as a child in certain times, but I know how to manage it. And that's where all of my information in my videos is going to be coming out, as to how to manage the low confidence, the anxiety, and the insecurity around speaking, because you can. As I went on, my parents were extremely supportive. They really honestly were able to provide all of the opportunities for me to be able to get help. Tons of speech therapy. I participated in a drug trial at the University of California, Anaheim, for a drug called Risperdal. It didn't work. It kind of made me a little bit crazier and had some pretty bad side effects, but I tried it. Kept going, went to high school, stopped talking pretty much, except to my friends, of course. I felt like I was trying to be like the quiet girl. It was just another way to avoid talking, avoid speaking, avoid socializing, okay? But then whenever I got to the university, I couldn't do that anymore. I had to speak in my classes. I had to make friends. I moved out of state to Colorado, the University of Colorado at Boulder. And I literally had to make a new life for myself. And I thought, well, maybe this is my time. What did I do? I established my degree in speech language pathology. I went to school to become a speech therapist, of all things. Guess what? I can't really say that I wanted to be a speech therapist, but I needed to become a speech scientist so that I could help myself improve my speech. From birth to 18 years old, my sole focus every single day was to talk better. How am I going to get through my day? Kind of messed up. And if you have been doing the same, how are you going to get through your day because of your social anxiety or speaking anxiety because you're just afraid to talk? I've been there. Not for the same reasons that you have, of course, but I've been there and I get it. It's painful, it's frustrating, and it will hold you back in life, no doubt. As I continued on, I learned a lot about speech and voice science. I started to use a lot of the techniques that I learned from the ways that we helped other people who came into the clinic. But it wasn't until a group of men from China came into the speech clinic for speech therapy. They did not have a speech impediment or any pathology that required them to have speech therapy. They needed speaking clarity and confidence because they were starting a business in the United States. They needed to be able to do presentations. They needed to speak with power. They needed to speak in a way that would kind of reduce their accent just a little bit so that everybody could understand them. And I was fascinated because I thought, I feel like this is exactly what I was trying to do with my life, right? I needed to find a way to get myself out there and make a life out of myself, and kind of overcome this whole speaking situation thing that I had going on. And I promise you, that group of businessmen was so inspiring that they could learn a few techniques to keep themselves calm and composed, and they had to do it their own way. And by their own way, I'm going to have to use like a metaphor in this situation. Okay? Think about like a diet. If you need to lose a few pounds, you probably have your own way of doing that. It could be a combination of different ways, but you figured out, if you've been successful at it, you figured out what to do to combine all of the recommendations to make kind of like your own plan. That's what they had to do to become confident speakers. That's what I eventually figured out for myself. I had to make my own way. I had to like put my own ingredients into the pot and make my own sort of creation, if you will. I self-created speech fluency and speaking confidence. And that's what I do at Memphis Speech Solutions every day, is I help people make sense of all of the suggestions, all the expert advice, but we look at them, what their history was, what they've been through, what's holding them back, what makes it hard to talk, what are specific topics that make you kind of want to break down in your speaking confidence, certain people. It's very specific to every single person. So if you're frustrated because you've done all of the online tutorials on Instagram or all the retreats or all the classes or all of the learning on the learning platforms and nothing is working because it works for them but it doesn't work for you, guess what? There probably are some things that do work and that you do need, but really you have to find what works for you. It's a system. And that's where my videos are going to be focused on going forward. So I would love for you to join, subscribe, like. I cannot wait to see how this continues to go. Of course, I'm super excited right now. And yeah, that's my story. And I hope it's inspiring to let you know that if you've been struggling with low speaking confidence, you're not alone. I have been there, right there with you every day of the week, night and day. And you can get through it. And I look forward to helping you. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.